Hello and welcome back to Second Operator, the podcast dedicated to portable synthesizers and DAWless music. I'm your host, Shines. This is episode 7, lucky number 7. We're super lucky to be joined today by Chaise Phoebus, who goes by Chaise QWERTY on Instagram. I cannot wait to bring him on to the show and to talk about his synthesizers and his music. Let's get started here with some news. It has been a crazy week for us synthesizer enthusiasts. We've had Superbooth 2023 come to a close, and it has actually given us a plethora of synthesizers and just some really, really cool stuff to wait for the reviews on YouTube. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, this is a podcast dedicated to portable desktop synthesizers. Means there's going to be some larger synths that might not get the spotlight here, however cool they might be. This also goes for some of the newer Eurorack modular stuff that might have come out in the past week as well. It's super cool, really versatile stuff, but on this show, I kind of wanted to focus on the portable, self-contained units that I know we all like to travel with. So, however, every now and then there might be a module for a larger synthesizer worth mentioning. So let's just step right up here and talk a little bit about the Sonicware Texture Lab. I believe this is in their Liven series. It is a very interesting looking synthesizer. It's a desktop module here. It's not battery powered or anything, but it does fit nicely on your desk. And you can't really see from the image here, but it is a nice white topped box with a lot of little clicky little keys on it. And the sides, I believe, are teal in color, which is just super, super pretty. I am really excited. I might get one here in the coming year or so, but it seems to be a box designed specifically for creating textures. It's a granular synthesizer, so it's got a bunch of different voices on it, and all of them sort of change and morph over time. You can create some really just massive, crazy soundscapes that kind of, dissolve out into big textures. There's some choral stuff that you can do with it as well. It just seems really, really versatile. Speaking of versatile, there is a brand new sort of a semi-modular synthesizer from a company, very small company called Superlative, based here in the US. It's called the Monolab 1210. It is a mono synth. It's an all-in-one sort of device. I believe you can actually take it out of this panel and mount it in something larger, but the design of this thing, it's an all gray enclosure. It's got beautiful metal, really, really pretty knobs. The design of this thing, I think, is really where it shines. However, it is just a really interesting, really cool collection of what look like little modular modules. It kind of reminds me of the Teenage Engineering PO400 modular. It's got a bunch of different things that would normally be separate modules, but it isn't all kind of all in one self-contained unit. Really, really interesting. I'm hoping that eventually it has a kind of like a battery attachment to it, because if it does, this would be the clear winner if you guys are looking for something to sit on your desk and to kind of tweak with, while you're at work or something like that. At this point, there's no price yet, but it's going to be available in the fall, and I think pre-orders are going to go live sometime in June. So definitely something to keep an eye on here, the Monolab 1210 system from Superlative. And obviously, there are other synthesizers that have been announced this week. So one of our favorite companies, Erica Synths, has unveiled something called the Steam Pipe. Apparently, this is a true physical modeling synthesizer that models air. So they have developed an algorithm or some kind of synthesizer engine that actually will shape air passing through pipes so you can make sounds that are reminiscent of pipe organs, I believe woodwind instruments. It's a really interesting looking, really interesting sounding device. And it seems to me that they made this specifically for those wind MIDI instruments. So if you have one of those, windpipe MIDI type instruments, you can connect it up to the synthesizer and do some really interesting, cool stuff with it. Again, same with the Monolab. There's no price point to this, but, it's Erica Synth, so I can't afford it. Anyways, moving on to something that I actually can afford. Roland has actually added another synthesizer to its tiny, adorable Ira compact range. It's called the S1, and it's called a tweak synth, which I'm not really sure what they're going with that nomenclature here, but it seems to take a lot of inspiration from the classics such as the SH101, and it joins the T8 Beat Machine, the J6 chord synthesizer, and a couple other little compacts in their new line of Korg Volca-esque synthesizers. So it's really kind of interesting. This one is actually a 4-voice polysynth, and it can sound like the SH-101. It can sound like the Juno line. It's got multiple oscillators, a bunch of filters, and apparently a lot of effects built into it. So, I mean, this is Roland we're talking about here. So you'll definitely hear their iconic You'll definitely hear their iconic ensemble, chorus effects, and probably some really nice reverbs and such. Also, this tiny little box sports a 64-step sequencer, so it's really kind of a cool thing. I mean, I'm really excited about all these little synthesizers that have come out of Superbooth this week. I cannot wait to hear a little bit more about them and kind of follow them as they get reviewed and, you know, sound tested all over YouTube. And hey, if we can get our hands on one of these boxes here on this show, I would love to showcase it here live as well, which would be really, really cool. We have seen a crazy variety of instruments this week at Superbooth, which is actually reminiscent of the crazy variety of instruments seen on our guest's Instagram account. Let's all give a very warm welcome to our guest, Chaise Phoebus, who goes by Chaise QWERTY on Instagram. Chaise, welcome to the show. How are you doing, man?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going well. Great.
Doing well.
And really sorry about the mix-up today. So I kind of got into the whole, you know, I understood that there was a bit of a time difference between, you know, me here on the East Coast and you there on Mountain Time, but what I didn't account for was Arizona not taking part in any of the daylight saving stuff. So, you know, sorry.
It's totally good.
And I'm glad you're here now. What's it like over there right now? Is it like super hot? Is it getting into the summer kind of weather right now?
It's getting into the summer. We had sort of like a really long winter, and so now it's been sort of nice outside, but actually today it's been thunderstorming. So
okay, actually it's very similar to the East Coast here. We had our thunderstorms kind of roll in yesterday and knocked just a bunch of stuff out of the trees. It's just a mess. Going outside, just seeing some of the clutter that's formed because of that, because of the storm. But interesting. Yeah, I would always kind of assume that it'd be kind of dry over there and you wouldn't get a whole lot of storms, but every now and then I guess you do get some good thunderstorms.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than more of like the Phoenix area. Flagstaff is really high up. It's in the mountains, so we get a lot more snow, we get more rain, a little bit more variety in our weather, you know. So
and you got those beautiful landscapes over there too with the mountains and the cliffs and stuff, right? Man, it's always been a place I've wanted to visit in my life. I mean, it's just such a beautiful, you know, I do some photography on the side as well, but I just feel like that just lends itself to lots of inspiration for photography, for video, maybe for music, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, have you always lived there or did you move there?
No, I moved here when I was 18. I've lived here for about 7 years. Lived here with my partner. She actually just finished up school with her MPH. So that's really great news. And then just lived here ever since. I'm originally from Gallup, New Mexico, which is about 3 hours from here. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's actually get into a little bit about your background. So you want to maybe just like give us a short introduction to who you are, your background in music, and kind of how you got to where you are here?
Yeah, for sure. My name's Chaise. I go by Chaise QWERTY online. I live in Flagstaff. I'm an indigenous producer / experimental artist, I would say. I make a lot of videos for like Instagram. I post some beats here and there, but mostly it's with synthesizers, samples, and a lot of just I pull sounds from nature and stuff like that most of the time. And then also really like abstract sounds from like synthesizers and stuff. So I blend them all together. I make visuals. I do a little bit of animating in Procreate. I shoot all my videos on my iPhone. So that's pretty fun. I like to say shot on iPhone because they all are shot on iPhone. So,
nice.
So yeah. Thanks for having me on the podcast today. I think we've followed each other for quite a bit. I think it's probably since like 2017 or 18.
Yeah, it's just been around that time. It was when I was really just getting my start into DAWless. You were honestly one of the first folks to pop up, and I used to be bit, you know, I think a lot of us here listen to Small Operations a whole lot. Shout out to Field Plan here. But the first time I ever heard your voice was actually on that show, and I was like, oh man, that's the guy that I follow. And you're talking about I think you guys went to IKEA together.
Yeah. We went to IKEA to check out the Freak Fins line from Teenage Engineering, and actually have it back here.
Oh, you do?
As
That's
my
awesome.
as my main speaker for my record player. But yeah,
Cool.
it really worked out. He lived in Phoenix, I live in Flagstaff, so we are like, hey, let's go meet up there.
Cool.
It was actually the first podcast I was ever on. This is the second, so
Nice.
it's pretty exciting. And yeah, and then literally we did that podcast, and then a month later, the pandemic hit. So it was like ever since then. So it's just been it's been a wild 3 years since then. So I think
it really has. It really has. I mean, it's been a lot of staying indoors, hopefully playing with Freakfin's lights, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. It's actually kind of cool to kind of get an insight into how you do your animations, and we'll actually check out. I actually downloaded one of your other Instagram posts today. One of your I would say one of your crazier visuals with your OP1, and now knowing that it was done in the app called Procreate, which generally is a drawing app, but you're using it here for animation. I think that's a really cool glimpse into your process. We'll get to that in a little bit here, but let me ask you about your sort of earlier musical life. Was there maybe a first instrument that you played just kind of growing up?
Yeah, actually, the first instrument I picked up, well, I would say the first instrument that I wanted to pick up was a ukulele. I was about 15.
Oh, cool.
And, I just wanted to learn like simple like pop songs, 21 Pilots songs and stuff like that. And then I just like taught myself how to play. And ever since then, I've just been hooked on music. I think one of the things that got me into keyboards and synthesizers and stuff was listening to one of the first albums I ever bought, which was Torches by Foster the People.
Nice.
And if you listen to that album, even now, even over being 10 years old, the synthesizers and stuff is like insane on that album. The production is super tight, like everything about it. And I always wanted to know, like, how do you get those sounds? Because it's not like a guitar or it's not a piano. I was like, what are those sounds? And then with that, I learned what synthesizers are, got into the history of it. And one of the first synthesizers that I saw was actually the OP1.
One of the first ones you saw,
like,
wow.
One of like the first ones I saw that really like I guess caught my eye was because of how like cool it looked and sort of Apple-esque design.
Nice. Yep,
and I was I always was like, oh my God, I want one of those, but the price range was always out of reach for like a 15-year-old. So yeah, I've done that, and then just slowly over the years, I've gained gear here and there of producing my own stuff, and now I have like the whole side of our one-bedroom apartment here in Flagstaff is like my studio with all my gear that I've collected over the years, and yeah, I just make music usually with my DAWless type stuff, but I do record into my laptop. In Logic Pro. That's the DAW I use, DAW of choice. Awesome. But most of my stuff starts with DAWless synths.
So you would say that in your sort of your first days of getting into synthesizers and stuff like that, you sort of started in the DAWless world and you kind of moved into working in Logic from there?
So I would say that like my first sets of gear were.
Oh, I think we lost you. I think we had a satellite disconnect here. Hold on just a second, guys. We'll bring them right back. I think the thunderstorms are probably causing a little bit of issue here.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
I
okay,
think
cool.
It cut out.
No, it's all good. It's those thunderstorms, man, just rolling through the state. But yeah, please continue.
Yeah. So I actually started by using just software-based instruments in Logic and GarageBand first.
Nice.
And then once I was able to save up money, my girlfriend, she actually bought me my first synth, and my first actual synth was the Microcorg, and it was a birthday gift.
Wow.
And then after that, I was able to get the Pocket Operator Rhythm and then the KO, and those were my first like TE devices.
Oh man,
that were
that's cool.
like DAWless.
That's awesome. And the KO is the sampler that you use.
Yes,
that I've seen some. Yeah. Oh, that's super cool. and that was your first step in the TE world. Yeah, that was kind of my first gateway into their world as well, was a pocket operator. And I think a lot of us kind of start with something small like that, and then we notice the OP1 exists, and we're like, uh-oh.
Oh yeah,
this might be something for me. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. A lot of people's first synthesizers was the microKORG, actually. I think pretty much almost on the dot, I would say 5 out of 7 folks we've had on this show, their first synthesizer's been the microKORG. I mean, it's it's one of the most accessible keyboards out there. It is battery powered. You can take it on car rides. You can take it anywhere with you. And, it's got that vocoder in it, which is just so alluring for so many of us. So did you do any soundscaping or any kind of sound design on that when you first got it?
I have. It's a little bit menu divey, just a little bit, because it only has like the 5 knobs, and then 4 of them only really do stuff. Right. But yeah, I messed around with some of the presets because it has a bunch of like icon.
Whoop! I think you cut out again. This might be a recurring thing here. We might have a weird connection. Hold on, just a second. Hey, you're back.
Darn.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
It's totally
It's not even raining anymore, so I don't really know what's happening. But but yeah, where I was going with that was like, yeah, I did a little bit of sound design, and some of and I think it was about after like a year and a half of owning it, True Cuckoo came out with a sound pack for the whole microKORG with a bunch of presets and stuff, and I've had it on it ever since, because there's a bunch of just like pad and lo-fi sounds. There's one that's called Sad Adventure or whatever, and that's probably like my favorite set of sounds for the microKORG. It has some vocoder stuff, but the bass sounds and then the pad sounds are really fun and experimental. So that's sort of what I use that for.
That's super cool. I'm just like, I actually don't own a microKORG, but for the folks out there that do, how do you exchange sound packs? How do you actually load sound packs into it?
So it actually goes with like presets, like sound presets, and the way you have to do it is you have to get either an interface with MIDI or just a MIDI like USB plugin, and then it's a whole process of like putting into like it's not like a reboot mode, but it's sort of like a firmware loading mode. Wow. And then you're able to do it. It took me a couple tries. I had the help of my like brother-in-law to help me with that. But the thing about it is you have to get a driver, and on the current set, I think it was like the last 2 sets of Mac OS, it's not supported. So I don't think the loader for it, so you have to be lucky with it, but you can try,
Oh my gosh. So the True Cuckoo stuff is there to stay on your microKORG.
Yeah.
Not a bad problem, I think.
Fine.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
That's definitely not bad.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it when companies can figure out how to do stuff through the MIDI port, because it's, as of this year, it's 40 years old. It is just one of the oldest ports, known to instrument kind. So that's fascinating. When I was doing my firmware update for my Mother 32, it was a similar thing. I had to download some app on my computer and like get a file, and then like it transmitted through MIDI. Another one that's really great is those pocket operators using sound, using the little speaker to like almost like dial up phone tones, like get those sounds in, right? I mean, that's really awesome, man. Like, I love having an instrument that has the capability of loading other stuff into it. OP1 is like that too, with its sampling and stuff. But I actually noticed that a lot of your most recent videos are done on the SP404 Mark II.
Yes.
So what was the journey into that going?
For me, it was I've always looked at the SP as something I can take with me, because I plan on doing local shows or local open mics and stuff like that, and I want to be able to just take my whole show in something where I don't have to take my like laptop or anything with me. And the SP44 is perfect, especially with the Mark II coming out was about 1.5 years ago, or at least getting announced and stuff. And I've just watched so many people make stuff, and I'm like, I would like to, have my own take with it and see what I can do with it. I recently got it. I think it was about maybe 2 weeks ago, and I've just been like making videos with it. I did like a day 1 of learning and all the way up. I think I did up to like 12, and I've just gotten super busy in the month of May. But yeah, I really like it so far. It's actually
I'm
It's
sitting on
actually
your
right
desk.
here.
It's your desk companion. Oh, I love it.
Right now it is. I did a little
Wow.
custom
Oh,
sticker
you got a Moog
type
sticker on
thing.
there. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. I'll have to
Yeah.
send you a second operator sticker to stick on there. I love it.
Oh, for sure.
What a cool
For sure.
design. Yeah. Is it sort of, just out of curiosity? So you have the PO, the Pocket Operator Knockout. I think it's the PO33.
Yes.
So I know that's another sort of grid-based sampler as well. Is it similar in that respect? Are you finding the workflow completely different?
There's some parts that are definitely similar, but a little bit different. So with the Pocket Operator, you can, live play, and then you can put it to the grid, have a little
Cool.
bit of swing and stuff like that. You can also do that now with the SP. I think with the last firmware update, it does add a step sequencer, so it is sort of
nice.
like similar to the PO.
Cool.
You can have, it has 32 32 or 64 polyphony, so you can have that many samples loaded up on each other.
Oh my goodness.
You would never do that, but you can,
Yeah.
As with the KO, it's very limited to how many samples you could play at the same time. I think you can have 2 of the drum, the chop parts and the lower parts. You can have 2 of those playing at the same time, and one melodic, or like a melodic and then like one of the drum things. I don't know. I always end up maxing it out, but it somehow works out in my favor. But yeah, I would say it's just like the souped up Pocket Operator.
Damn. Yeah, because I mean that thing it's amazing looking. Yeah.
And the effects, top tier. Like,
Cool.
I love the effects because for me, just recording different sounds, I have a lot of synths that can make a bunch of cool sounds, but adding the effects adds a whole new layer to my sound design.
I agree.
And this, I can plug anything into it, either stereo or through the line input.
Cool.
I've been plugging my OP1 and OPZ in it, and just using the effects, recording it, chopping it, and then making my own stuff with it. So it's very versatile. I haven't even touched the surface on its vocoder or auto tune or any of that
all
stuff.
That stuff built in. Dude, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's actually give it a listen, because you did send me just before we started this broadcast. You did send me a little snippet of your music. It was a little long. I actually had to kind of cut a little bit out of it.
Sure,
but I kind of skimmed it and kind of got my favorite part. You have a really interesting, almost like an 80s type beat come in, but then you just completely crush it with all these effects. Really excited to play it for everyone here on the show. So let's give it a listen now, and then we'll come right back to the rest of the interview. All right. This is Chaise QWERTY coming up on Second Operator. Dude, oh, that is beautiful. I like the sort of like the closing of the filter on the sort of the outro there. As we see in our comments here, yeah, absolutely sick glitches as well.
Thanks.
There's like tape effects, warble type stuff built into it, or was that like a tape echo?
Yeah, so actually, I don't think I used the tape echo on it, but I did use the sync delay. Definitely has some wobbles in it and stuff like that. And then also the scatter effect is actually really cool, because it takes you can select how much you want it to scatter it, and it basically takes sections, glitches it out, and you can control the depth of it and stuff like that. I use that a lot. I use the resonator in it as well, and that basically just uses it as like a filter, and it uses the resonance, and it changes the pitch of the whole sequence. I don't really know. I've never seen that effect on anything else, but it's really cool for like experimental type stuff. It reminds me of like Eurorack type plots type stuff. So
yeah, where it can kind of like make it sound it's like you're glitching it out over a long period of time, stretching it and all that kind of fun stuff. That is super cool. And I mean, honestly, like you say that you're just scratching the surface with it, but that was some pretty deep stuff that I've never seen done with an SP404 before. So usually I've seen it just to like, yeah. And I mean, dude, like usually I see it for just like beat creation or like some simple, you know, lo-fi hip hop type stuff. But I mean, you know, to play an actual track like that, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see how your journey, you know, continues with your SP404.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And basically, what I did with for that whole set, I am posting it to my Instagram page once the internet starts acting right. You know, it's taking forever to load it. But I basically just used my OPZ and a bunch of little sketches I made on it, and I just performed it right into it, recorded, chopped it, so I made them full loops, BPM synced them all, and then just put together a performance over the past couple days, and then recorded it. So.
Oh, that's great. I mean, and again, you know, for the folks that are out there, please check out, and I'll have a link to your Instagram in the show notes down below.
Thanks.
But yeah, definitely check out the full performance. It's a 4-minute video or a reel. But yeah, it's going to be just, it's what we just heard was really not the only sound that you hear. There's actually a lot of other sections to it that I'm really excited for folks to, you know, get their ears on. So I'm pretty stoked for that. Awesome. Yeah. So I was wondering, speaking of your Instagram account, so when did you get that whole thing started?
Okay, so actually my Instagram account, Chaise QWERTY, I've had since I was like 12. And I picked the name Chaise QWERTY when I was like 12 because I was like, I don't want to use my full name, so I'll use Chaise. And then I was like, QWERTY, like the top of your keyboard. So, and then that's just been my internet name since I was 12, like everywhere. So I use that. If you go back, there's like a photo of me when I was like, I think it was like 13 or 14.
Are you serious? That's awesome. The history of your account. That's incredible.
Yeah, I've had that account for quite a bit. And then I think it only started transferring into like a music page around like 217 and then 218 and then 219. It really popped off of like January, and then I've just sort of done it ever since, and it's just grown into this thing, you know. I think last year I broke 1,000 followers, which I was in, like I never thought I would get that far. It's like it's so cool to have like a community that engages. It's not just like it's sort of like small compared to others, but to me it's nice because
sounds like we've lost
Liam Killen. I connect with, you know, sorry,
yeah,
can you hear me now?
I think we're yeah, I can hear you great. I think we were just going through a little bit of a rough patch of turbulence.
Cool.
But yeah, so you're talking about the community. It's starting to grow. Congrats on 1,000 followers, man. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, thanks. But yeah, it's just super nice to have like a small like synth community that like really supports each other and likes each other's videos, makes cool content as well. I think it's just a good community overall.
I completely agree.
We're able to do stuff like this, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean this is something that I'm hoping to help grow the community. I'm hoping to showcase more folks that are in the community that make really cool stuff, like like you do. But yeah, absolutely. It's just nice to have you as part of the group. I actually kind of want to play your OP1 track now. This is something that I found. I kind of scroll. I think this might actually be from this year's January. It's one of those things that like I don't participate in that every year, but I definitely watch everyone else's videos, and people have just been making some crazy stuff. But this is one of those videos where I think you are using the Procreate app to kind of create some of your visual stuff. So let me go ahead and play the track or the snippet of the track here, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about it. Wow, that was pretty cool. That one got a little bit crazy, actually. I think, are you still there? Oh no, Chaise, I think I lost you again.
Cool. Am I back?
You're back. We're back.
No.
Great track, man. That
Okay,
was
cool,
really,
cool.
really cool.
Yeah. Oh my God. The connection. I feel so bad. But
It's fine. I'm like trying not to like sit too close to my computer. I don't know. Maybe my
cool.
my skull.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, man. Yeah, you're coming in great.
Cool. Cool.
So when you
yeah, I can't see you, but oh, now I can see you. We're
okay,
all good.
cool.
Yeah, you're
Nice. So can you tell us a little bit about how you created that, the
so-
OP1 track?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure what have it. I don't remember all of them. Here, let me just double check.
So this was a
And
track.
if it is from January, I did make a lot of. No, sorry, you cut out a little bit.
No, it's good.
What were you saying?
I think there's like a massive delay in our communication. So let me actually just try. If you let me just try and describe what the track is. So it's your OP1 against a blue background. You got some kind of swirlies over it. It's that particular track. I can't remember the exact date, but it's the first one of that you see on your grid. So it's the most recent one that you have your OP1 against that bright blue background.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So for those ones, I basically have a template on Procreate that is the exact ratio of sort of like TikTok videos and Instagram Reel videos. And then in Procreate, you can basically animate frame by frame, and it's a cool little feature. For me, I just like I like real abstract art, so I like creating stuff with just like really bold black lines and shapes, and they morph into other things. So I think that one was about like 32 frames, and then I just loop it. And then I take that that little GIF or video, and I put it into a video creator app called Video Leap. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. It's an Instagram video editing app. I think it's probably the best one that is on the iPhone and iPad that I've personally experienced. I pay the premium version was like $7 a month, but with that I'm able to get effects, filters, glitch effects as well. But I'm able to export it from all the way from, I think it's like 320 to 4K. So it's super versatile. I've able to post YouTube videos, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff in there. And basically I just put it together, sync up audio. Thankfully with, like the OP1, OPZ, and even with the SP404 USB audio, most of my videos are shot with USB audio. I'm not sure if a lot of people know that. It's just super easy to record the video and audio at the same time. And then I'm able to split it, make it louder if I need to, or edit it further. But yeah, that's just sort of how I use Procreate. And if not that, I make an art piece, and then I go take it into Video Leap, and then I glitch it out or make it more animated and stuff like that. So that's a little bit of behind the scenes of how I make my videos.
No, I love it. I'm glad to know your process. I mean, that's shout out to Video Leap for being a really versatile looking app, and obviously shout out to your artwork. I mean, that's really, I love your abstract stuff. I mean, they're not, like we see characters and stuff like that, but like I like your swirls and lines. There's kind of like a 90s flair to it too. I like the colors that you use.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, that's really awesome, man. Cool. Well, great, man. Well, so a couple more questions, and then we'll kind of leave it at that for today. What advice, I guess, would you give to any newcomers to the Instagram synthesizer space?
For me, I think the biggest thing is to just have fun with it. Don't feel like pressure to always post videos, because for me, I take like big breaks in between posting, and then when I feel like it, I'll post like one every day for about a week, take a break and do it. I don't think it's good for your art to always feel like you have to push something out. I think if you're just having if you're just having fun with it, then have fun with it. Don't really care like how many likes you get or followers, because for me, likes are fun. Followers are fun, engagement's fun, but post it for you. I think that's it at the end of the day, is just post it for you, have fun, and if you gain friends like I have, good. Like it's really just something to have fun with, and you shouldn't see it as like a job or stress or anything like that. Just do it for fun, you know. And one thing I will say is that if you do get hate comments, I rarely do. Don't let it bother you, because they're still engaging with your content, and you know, they still took the time out of their day to do that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
don't let it get to you, and just keep posting and have fun. That's really what I have to say about anybody joining. Yeah. And also just like search out videos you like and the hashtags underneath, post those if they relate to your content, and then you'll get people who are either like-minded or post similar content. So that's my best tip.
Wow, absolutely well said, man. I mean, I love what you say.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, everything is engagement, right? And that's awesome. And you know, also finding more people that are out there using your tags and stuff like that. I think that is super, super helpful. But ultimately,
sure.
yeah, like don't make it a job. You know, a lot of people, they really strain themselves and I think kind of overstretch their artistic integrity or whatever by like creating something, you know, every 2 hours or whatever, they got to post something. So no, really, really well said.
For
man.
sure.
I think taking your time with it, coming up with something that's really good, it really, really makes sense. Speaking of coming out with stuff, do you have any current project shout outs or anything coming up that we can all look forward to?
Right now, I am in between of making a bunch of sketches right now with the SP and my OP1.
Nice.
I plan on sometime this summer releasing a 5 to 7 song EP that will be on all all platforms, and then basically it's just gonna be like Pocket Operator and OP1 based, and it's really just gonna be like some of it's gonna be sort of like my synth pop stuff, a little bit of lo-fi hip hop and experimental stuff. I want to go with like a ambient type of space, like so that each song is like different. I don't have a name for it yet, but I do plan on having it coming out this summer. So
that's so cool. What are you already under Spotify? Or are we able to find any other albums, or will this be a brand new thing?
It'll be a brand new thing. It'll be my first time putting music out on all platforms. Right now I only have SoundCloud under Chaise QWERTY. It's in my bio and my link tree. You can go and check out some of the beats I've posted on there. I think the last one I posted was a couple months ago, but I do plan on the little remix I did today will be out on Spotify sometime within the week. If anyone wants to listen to like the 5 or 4 minute remix, it'll be up for you to listen. And that's sort of just what I got going on. Nothing too crazy, but I'm excited for the project.
That is super cool. So we got the scoop in this episode. Then we kind of heard it for the very first time before it even hit Instagram,
sure.
And that's awesome. Thank you for allowing us to do that.
No problem.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were taking your SP to shows and stuff. Any upcoming shows or community events that you're going to be showing up at?
None that I can say or anything like that or have, but when I will do it, I will be posting about it, and anyone in the local Flagstaff area could come out and see. But until then, all my stuff will be here on Instagram and on TikTok. So
awesome. So we'll keep it. We'll keep it tuned to you on all those channels.
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much for joining with us here on Second Operator. It's been an absolute pleasure. After hearing your voice on Small Operations all those years ago, I was just really curious to like what you were actually like, what your process was like, and then after seeing all your music and stuff, it was really exciting to kind of get sort of the insider's look into some of your animation techniques and really just your musical mind. So I'm really excited that we actually got this time to talk. So yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us and being on the show. Alrighty, and you've been listening to Second Operator. Thank you so much for joining us here on the live stream and being part of this amazing, awesome, very giving community. Next week, we're going to be interviewing Miles Kundra, who, aside from doing some amazing tutorials on YouTube, has actually been to Superbooth 2023 and hopefully can tell us some more stuff about what he experienced. Please keep an eye on my Instagram page for more details. Actually, if you want to get in touch with me at all with any news, community shout-outs, or anything like that, or just to say hi, you can connect with me on Instagram at @second.operator, as well as on Twitter at @second_operator. Operator. You can also find us right here on YouTube at youtube.com/@secondoperator, and eventually on every podcast platform in the universe. If you would like to support our show, we are on Patreon at patreon.com/secondoperator. There's currently 2 tiers available, and both tiers get a cool Second Operator sticker, so if you're interested, please go check out the webpage. It would mean the world to me if you did. It would also help get this podcast out there to more people and would help support us through the years and seasons to come. Again, thank you so much for everyone for joining us here. I'm really happy to have finally gotten a chance to talk to Chaise here on this podcast. I do apologize for some of the technical glitches that we experienced. That is, one of the things about a live stream and about a long distance podcast that we're just going to have to kind of deal with. But over time, hopefully that'll get better. We'll see. We've kind of been around the world at this point. We've visited Manila. We've visited, the mountain region of the U.S. And we visited Europe. So next week, I think we're going to be back in Berlin. Long distance, of course, So hopefully that connection will be really good. And we'll bring you a show next week. Just keep an eye on our Instagram page for the time and the date as well, because that might actually shift. Hoping to keep this at an every Wednesday thing, but we'll see. Everyone's in different time zones and things might change. But again, thank you to all the listeners out there. Really, really thank you so much for supporting the show with your ears, and we will catch you in the next broadcast. Cheers.